Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the pre-show. Today is a big old Thursday show, and it's going to be a little bit of a weird one. We've got some crazy videos to show you. We've got some nonsense. We've got some Nazis. We're going to have a fun little debate about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And Kirsten Sinema found a way to be worse. You didn't think it was possible. Oh, it's possible. It's possible. There's other bad people too, including Lauren Boebert, who just really wants, and I get it, just really wants to be clever on Twitter. I want it too. I get it. And as it says in the title, she's really trying. She's really trying. We're going to evaluate how she did. Robert says, good morning, John. Long time watching you. I'm usually late to the live stream. Thanks for what you do. Help me turn into an activist. That's awesome. That's all I want. That's great, Robert. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody, thank you for being here. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that would be great. You'll notice I kind of started on time. Ideally 9:15. Let's keep it real, but it wasn't 9:30. And I'm not going to waste any more time than I have to. We're going to jump right into the news. Here's a fun bit of news that doesn't really mean anything in practice. Senator Schumer says the Senate will vote next week on the Freedom to Vote Act, a major voting rights bill. It's a compromise between Democrats that has Joe Manchin's support, giving it a path to 50 votes. Because remember, he wouldn't support the For the People Act, the other pro-voting bill, because it has, reporting requirements for campaign finance and stuff like that. And the dude's fucking corrupt, and he wants to continue being corrupt. I get it. I respect the corrupt hustle. So instead, they have this. Well, thank God, everybody. I mean, look, we know that the Republicans are going hard against voting rights, and so we desperately need this. And sure, it would have been great to have a bill that did far more, that was actually up to the task of fighting back against the Republicans' anti-democratic bullshit. But thankfully, now we have this, a path to 50 votes, which means jack shit, because you can't pass shit with 50 votes. Unless it's reconciliation. And of course, the parliamentarian ain't going to allow that. So no, it doesn't matter. Like, yay. Yay. Now, what you could do in theory, and this is, by the way, what I'm about to say is not a message to Joe Manchin. Fuck him, he ain't listening to me anyway. Now that Schumer is, but okay, for Schumer, here's an idea. They're gonna filibuster it. Make them filibuster it. We've all seen the movie. Mr. Smith, he went all the way to Washington to teach us a lesson about the filibuster, and we don't even make them filibuster. It's just going to be an automatic thing, everybody. The Democrats are going to try to make it so that you can vote, a weakened version, but they're going to try to make it so that you can vote. The Republicans will be like, no, and then that's it. And we'll just move on. Don't move on. If they're gonna filibuster it, make them filibuster it. Shut down the fucking country as they argue, and you make them argue in public that people should not be allowed to vote. Now look, in practice, I think that the strategy that I'm putting forward right now would probably be more effective on some other issues, because the thing is, Republicans actually kind of like making the case that you shouldn't be allowed to vote, and a lot of their voters support it. Not enough, which is why I still think the strategy would be good. Force the filibuster. How about that? Force the buster. Make that trend. FTB. Force them to actually filibuster it, which will have, I think, two effects. One, it's going to make the Republicans look really bad. Three effects. You know what? I'm going to add a bonus effect. Number two, it shows that you actually give a fucking damn what's going on, and that this isn't just fun and games. And I'm talking about Schumer right there. You actually will make them do it. You understand power. You understand making a case publicly. And number three, it will help the American people realize that this filibuster is fucking nonsense. And they do it for fucking everything. Force the buster. Hashtag force the buster, everyone. And by the way, this is a strategy that doesn't have to just be applied to this. If they're gonna filibuster something that is wildly popular, force the buster. No more automatic secretive votes. You're not a PR company working for the fucking Republicans. Why are you helping them hide it? They're doing something wildly unpopular. Put a spotlight on it. Call in the media for their filibuster and let them do it for a full day and 2 days and a week. Have a news cycle, multiple news cycles that are about the fact that the Republicans are willing to shut down everything to stop you from voting. Do it after the reconciliation thing, though, because it could go on for a while. I want to make sure that you actually get that done. But force the buster, everyone. No, you're right, consume shrooms. They probably will never do it, but put pressure on them. This ain't pressure on Republicans. That ain't going to work. Put it on Schumer. Tweet it at Bernie. Tweet it at whoever. I know Nancy Pelosi's not involved with that, but, put some pressure on her, too. Anyway, we'll have more on Force the Buster later. Forbesilla says, all right, y'all, heard DD. Tweet spam at Chuck Schumer. Hashtag Force the Buster. Make the Repubs do an actual filibuster. Exactly. If we are going to be hampered, if we're going to be weighed down by this stupid fucking relic of a tradition, make them actually do it. You know what? If we're going to have a government that doesn't function, make it clear that it doesn't fucking function. Stop wallpapering over the dysfunction. Reveal it. Zeet says, the pre-show contains real and unrestrained John F-bombs away, and I love it. Well, look, Zeets, thank you. I appreciate the super chat. I want to be very clear, though. I'm swearing now, it shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't. If I care about something, it should matter regardless of whether I can. I appreciate it, you, and it does feel good. I'm not going to lie to you. It does feel good. But it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. The man who swears most should not be the most persuasive. I really hope that we don't live in that world. Anyway, Non-Human Humanist says, hashtag Force the Buster sounds kind of naughty. It would make a great movie. I don't want it. I don't want it. Oh, man. Ryan says, hey, Ryan, says, SCOTUS looming decisions will be bad, but the expected decisions would likely rally people for elections. When do you think they will pull the trigger? Okay, Ryan, you are right there, and that's what the Republicans will use it for, but I don't want to just... I'm sick of cycles of they get everything they want, they take away our rights, they give everything to the rich, and we use it to rally. I'm sick of using it to rally. I want to fucking win. You're right, and we'll do that, but that's just a silver lining. That's all that is. Speak your tea. Harry says, John, just curious, are you gay? Harry, good question, thank you. I'm not, in fact, gay. There would be absolutely nothing wrong with being gay, but I'm not gay, and my wife prefers me the way I am, I guess. So anyway, I'm not, but thank you for asking. Okay, so that's what's going on, hashtag Force the Buster. Okay. Oh. F8L Flaw Dragon for the win. Oh no, we're doing that. You like F8L Flaw Dragon just did it. Top 10 red flags. Because we got that meme going around, and I tweeted one about ivermectin. We gotta do it. We gotta do it. Okay, Maker Mark says, love F-Bomb Dragon Daddy. Swear all you want. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Okay, so we did that. Hey, good news, by the way. We'll see if this ever comes to anything. It's going to be such a slow process, but Interior Secretary Deb Haaland and Joe Biden are working on a plan with the Interior Department to effectively lease out huge areas of ocean along both coasts and the Gulf of Mexico. But wait, for wind energy development, which is good. Some people will hate it, I guess. You got your twirlies. And I know that like Donald Trump hated it. I personally don't see what the problem is. Here, I'm gonna whip you around. This is the Block Island Wind Farm. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Those look fine. What's wrong with? I don't care. It looks fine. It's better than pollution. Eventually, we'll see them clearly. That'll be nice. So anyway, they're going to be identifying federal waters to lease along California and Oregon, the Mid-Atlantic states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Gulf of Maine, Gulf of Mexico. And they're going to have to do environmental studies, studies on effects on the military and on tourism and a billion other things that are probably going to slow it down. But by 2025, supposedly they could lease these that would then be developed. And this is what I've been calling for literally years. Not necessarily principally wind, but wind too. We should just begin building wind and solar capacity, and I will tell you when to stop. Just fucking do it. And massive factory batteries, whole warehouses full of batteries, so that you can store energy, you generate it, you store it, that way you have, peak usage goes up, and sometimes it's down lower at others. You have these massive regional batteries that are distributing energy. Just do it. Like, what a legacy. What a legacy. And a bunch of the money for this, I think $150 billion, by the way, is in that reconciliation bill. We'll see if cinema ends up letting us have it. Sure would be nice, but we desperately need this. Let's get off the coal. Let's get off the oil. Not to natural gas. Please. Can we have some wind? Can we have some sun? Ugh. Kate Jackson has been a Tier 2 member on YouTube for 6 months. Says, a.k.a. Kathleen, yay, 6 months strong here on YouTube. Thank you. I appreciate you being here, Kathleen. Bust the filibuster. Well, see, that's the second phase, actually, because the first phase, the force the buster, actually leads to people realizing more that the filibuster is fucking bullshit. So maybe we bust the buster. That's the next one. Don't tweet it. I don't want them to know what the strategy is, but hashtag force the buster. Barrel-aged millennial says, what about cancerous coastal winds? I am a little bit worried about that. The noise does give it to you, but yeah. Hold on. Captain Super Nightman says, are you talking to Elon, John? No one else is serious about battery storage. Honestly, yeah, he can be involved. It's fine. If that's what it takes. Harry says, I thought you were gay, Johnny. Sorry, OL. Love your show, dude. You don't have to apologize. What's the problem? All the dead birds. Yeah, there will be some dead birds. That's true. Okay, there's also dead birds from pollution, too. Jay Hawker says, in Germany, all new construction must have solar. That's a great idea. I believe that there's actually a version of that with in California, actually. Okay, more news, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you want to see what Lauren Boebert's trying her best on, we need to get to 1,000 likes, and we're still short. Libre Vision Network says, Wade rules. Stop denying it because I'll debate you. I don't know what Wade is. Libre Vision Network, what is Wade? Okay, everybody, let's see. Yes, it is mandatory. Okay, by the way, update on the whole Netflix Dave Chappelle thing. Employees are going to be doing a walkout next week. I believe it's next Wednesday in protest over the most recent special. We'll see what happens. I'm assuming that it's going to draw a lot of media attention. Unfortunately, a lot of it is probably going to be negative right-wing backlash. So everybody be ready for that. Okay, let's see. Do we have time? I don't know if we have time. I saw, it's just a rando's tweets, but I saw this tweet. I know a guy who lives in a 3-bedroom apartment in Manhattan with his wife and kid. Here's an estimate of their monthly expenses. $18,000 on a mortgage, $2,000 on HOA, $3,000 on property tax, $500 on parking, $16,000 on a 24/7 nanny, $5,000 on food and entertainment, $2,000 on travel. This is all per month. $46,500 per month on $1.1 million of pre-tax income per year. That is not the amazing part. The amazing part is the conclusion that comes up next, which is, so on first glance, this looks totally extravagant, but it's not actually. Yeah, sure, one could move farther out and pay less, but if you want to live in Manhattan with a kid and have 2 working parents, you kind of need a 3-bedroom and 24/7 help, right? Of course, one could get out of New York City too. So the point of all of that was, this is reasonable, okay? You have to have 3 bedrooms for you and your one kid. Okay? And you need to pay $5,000 on food and entertainment, and you need to pay $2,000 on travel. Like, oh, I've done a trip. So when I got engaged, it was on a trip to Hawaii. It's the only time in my life I've ever had a trip like that. Like, I'm going to Hawaii, or I'm going to Mexico, or I'm going, like, it's the only time I've ever done that. Did it maybe cost $3,000? I don't even know if it did. They're doing $2,000 every single month. You're spending all that on this house, and you're leaving every month. Stay there. It's nice. $3,000 on property tax, $2,000 on HOA, and it's reasonable. But that's not even the most amazing thing. Understanding that it's a rando, but Molson Hart tweeted that on October 2nd. On October 12th, Molson Hart tweeted this. In rural Texas, we posted a $14 an hour part-time cash container unloading job. No one showed up. Now our team of 2 is unloading 35,000 pounds of bran flakes themselves. Wild that 14 isn't enough these days. $14 should be enough. What the fuck's wrong with you peasants? I need 35,000 pounds of brain flakes unloaded, and I'm willing to give you $14 an hour for you to destroy your bodies. What the fuck is wrong? Why is that not enough? Why is that not? You should be fine on $14 an hour, while I say that $5,000 on food and entertainment is totally reasonable, and $2,000 on every single month's travel. They were paying their nanny $16,000 a month. A month. Who makes $16,000 a month? The people unloading the brain flakes aren't making $16,000 a month. And look, this person is just some rando. But our country is filled with people who believe this, or more importantly, at least will say this, that you should never expect any more taxes on the wealthy. Leave them alone. They're suffering too. But you're not. No matter how hard you've got it, no matter how bad it gets, you're not suffering, because we're going to give you $14. And he's making 2 people now unload it. Notice, he's not offering 15 or 16. The idea of paying people $1 fucking dollar more for a solid hour of back-breaking labor is incomprehensible to them. The idea that doing all of this lifting would be worth $1 more an hour. No, they're not going to do it. But they get thousands of dollars for travel every single month. Fucking crazy. I barely want to talk. Kyrie Irving did his little Instagram live, said that not getting vaccinated is, quote, what's best for me. Look, everybody gets to decide for themselves what's best for them. It's not. You're wrong about that. Now, there are some people who can't get vaccinated. Kyrie Irving has not provided any of those reasons. I don't want to invest myself anymore in it. Okay, everybody, we need 41 more likes, because I would love to tell you this story. I really would, but I need 41 more. Can I get 41 likes? Can we hit the 1,000 like mark? We got 2,200 people in the chat. We did it. Thanks. Okay, that was easy. Anyway, okay, so you might have seen this news. If we were doing Meanwhile in today, it would be included there. Thank you to everybody who hit the like button, by the way. In Norway, there was a tragedy. And it was that an individual took a bow, had a quiver of arrows, and went around in a small Norwegian town, killing 5 people with his bow before he was arrested. That is absolutely horrifying. A tragedy for the town, for the families, friends, and all of that. It was, this qualifies as effectively like if 5 people die from guns, we call that a mass shooting. This is a mass shooting. You just shot arrows instead. Devastating, obviously. That said, some people want to use this for their own purposes, and that's fine. You get to try, and we get to evaluate how well you do. Let me read this comment first. Gabby says, John, did you see Ted Cruz shut up at a rally for the neo-fascist party Vox in Spain? Republicans aren't even hiding their fascist associations now. I did not see that, but I am going to look it up. Thank you for letting me know that. Jeez. Okay, so Lauren Boebert, she saw this and thought, fuck Norway, fuck them, I need this. So she tweeted, a man in Norway just killed a bunch of people with a bow and arrow. Norway has some of the strictest gun laws around, yet mass killings still occur. Liberals need to understand it is not the gun, it is the criminal who commits the act. It is, in some way, the criminal who commits the act, and yet you'll note that when criminals commit acts, they generally try to do it with the most firepower available to them. So you'll remember, of course, that often they'll say there's no point in gun control because criminals will just get the guns anyway. So why didn't he, Lauren Boebert? Come on, Bobies. He used a bow. He wanted to kill people, and he did it with a bow. Seemed to be the most deadly weapon he could get. And yes, he did kill 5 people. Now let's say that you were in that town, and this was about to happen. Knowing it's going to be devastating no matter what, would you be okay with replacing that bow with an AR-15? I mean, what's the difference, right? Now, it's what's the difference to her here not caring. But if you were going to be there, if you were going to be in the town, you know that a shooting is going to happen. They can have a bow or they can have an AR-15. Which would you choose for them to have? Is there a person in the audience that doesn't care? And more importantly, we know what they think. There is not a single person who has committed a mass shooting in America with a gun like an AR-15 or something like it that could not have gotten a bow if they wanted to. Bows are very easy to get. You can get them pretty much anywhere. Why didn't they? Why'd they choose the AR-15? Fucking weird. I haven't figured it out. I've been covering mass shootings for literally years. I've never managed to figure it out. Maybe Boebert can explain it to me. Look, Grumpy Cat, that's a very good point. Mentions there were 25 murders in Norway in 2018. In America, there were over 16,000. Totally true. And how many bow mass shootings are there in Norway or around the world? Not a lot. Requires a lot more skill, as Rainy Day points out. And you can't shoot nearly as many people in as short of a time. And I will also say this. So I've given you a hypothetical of if you were going to be a victim in an area like this, if you were the shooter. So she says, it doesn't matter what you have. It's just the person. Weapons aren't more or less deadly. And bear in mind, they do this constantly. If there's like a mass stabbing, they say this exact same thing. It doesn't matter. Whatever weapon, it's fine. Well, then I will turn this on them. Why do you need a fucking gun? If a knife or a hammer or a bow are just as deadly, can protect you just as well, why do you need a gun? Lauren Boebert's profile picture is of her standing with a shotgun. Seems kind of pointless and really loud when a bow is just as effective. Why does the NRA care so much about firearms if any arms are just as good? Why every right-winger just really wants to have that AR-15, and clearly a lot of mass shooters do? Why is that necessary if it's just as effective? No, there's no sense to anything that she said. I'm going to read one more of her tweets because I just think it's really funny. So she tweeted later on, because people were mocking her over that nonsensical thing, as I'm doing right now. Every time the radical left tries to make some nasty hashtag like hashtag Lauren Boebert is so dumb trend, I flip it on its head and claim a victory for freedom. Which I love. One, because she used the hashtag Lauren Boebert is so dumb. That's funny. Two, I just flip it on its head and claim a victory for freedom. So this is like an English lesson. The expression I flipped it on its head doesn't necessarily have a connotation of, and it made sense for me to do this. To me, at least, it has the connotation of, I've now created something that's nonsensical. It's literally upside down. So yes, she's being honest. She does try to flip it on its head, and she does claim a victory for freedom, but not for reason and not for logic. She just does it. Because again, there's no standards on social media. You can do whatever you want. Joe Schmo, very good point. Why is the military spending so much money when bows are just as effective? YT Pernod says they claimed arming ordinary French citizens could have stopped the Bataclan massacre, yet France on the whole has fewer murders than the USA. Yeah. Anyway, I am way over, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Caroline Johnson is going to join me on the show, so you can stick around here. You can go to twitch.tv/TYT. We had a lot of fun coming for you. I'll see you in just a bit.